for the lab, which I think I call Arrays Lab, let me go over and explain what's going on in this, because it can be kind of hard to figure it out first. So what I do is I give you a NetBeans project again. So download this and import it. And these are the instructions up here under the Assignments tab. So you take that project and you're going to modify it, and it's got a bunch of to-dos in it. So I'll just read through this. I don't want to read it out loud, but I'll try to explain what's going on here. So there's two main arrays you're working with, players and scores. Look at the parallel arrays videos, lectures, lessons, if you haven't done that yet, because this is going to be a much more basic version of what you're doing here. So the foundation, the core is the same. So you're working with parallel arrays in this lab. So first you're going to get a number from 5 to 20 from the user. And we're going to use that to create basically players and the players arrays. So the 5 to 20 is saying like how many you want to keep track of. So that's going to set the size of your arrays. If at first, I would recommend also maybe just doing this. Maybe just picking 5, forgetting about this logic until later, and just make it 5. Make it work for 5, and then go back and add the logic where you get like between 5 and 20. Because all you have to do is change the size of your array. Everything else should work. So I've got a generate players method started for you, where you randomly get some players. So let me show you what that looks like. This is probably the most confusing part for most people. So this is the code. Let me see if I make it bigger. Alt, not Windows key, Alt key. So what it has at the top of it is it's a static final array, right? It's just an array that you can use throughout all your code. It's already built for you. It's just a bunch of names that I got randomly somewhere. I don't even remember how many names there are here, like 50 or something. Here's the thing, you don't use every one of these names in your program. The only reason this exists is it's a bucket to select from to generate random names. If you were really going to generate random names without doing something like this, it'd get really hectic. You'd have to build the rules into your language for what a name looks like and what letters and what sequence. And instead of doing something complicated like that, imagine this is a deck of cards with 50 names on it. And if you need like 5 for your program, 5 to 20, let's say you need 5 for this time when you run the program. Imagine you shuffle that deck and pull out 5 cards with names on them. Those are the 5 names you're going to use. The only thing that's slightly different is that maybe you can put the cards back each time. You pick it out, get the name, and then put it back and shuffle, because I didn't require that you make sure you don't duplicate. So you might get like this dude twice, or this dude twice, using this program. So again, this is something I just provided to you to be a bucket that you can draw from. So generate players, that's what it does. If you go down to generate players, you're going to take however big your array is, and again, like maybe you start with 5, just as in order to create your program, and then you make it to where it can be different sizes later. Make it 5, and then just randomly pick 5 things from this array up here, 5 names, and fill up your players array with those 5 random names. I hope that makes sense. So this should return an array of strings. See, it's new string array of a certain size. You're going to return an array of strings, right? Array of strings is your return value that you assign your players array to. That's the first part, and then the next part you're just going to create an array of integers that's the same size as your players array. So if it's 5, it'll be 5 for both, right? Then you're going to do something just like I did in the parallel arrays video, where I go through and I ask, hey, what's their score? Put the score in. So what this will return is an array with the parallel array of scores for the players. Again, watch that video, and it'll make a lot more sense. And then this one, it just takes an array of players and an array of scores and prints them out. That's very similar to the video too. This one, get max score. I did go over this actually in the videos. Read your labs and stuff about how you would find the biggest score out of an array. It's not that hard. Same with min score. Say I do show you how to do the average, which is what mean means, right? Get the average of all the scores and return that with this method. Standard deviation statistics lookup. I think I give you a reference in your write-up. Let me bring that up if I can do it right. Standard deviation. Click on that link. There's a couple of different versions of it, I think. There's like a population something or whatever, but whichever, it doesn't matter. Pick one, as long as it's a standard deviation, as long as it's roughly this. The square root of the variance, the difference between the mean and the variance, right? Yeah, that's right. The square of the difference between the mean and the value, right, is the variance, and you take the square root of like all of them divided by n or n plus 1 or whatever it is. The last part of it is really just, it's not that hard to understand. I don't know if it'll trip people up, but it's just like I bundle all these together to a print statistics method, so you can like turn that on and off in your main. Let me see where main is. Main. Yeah, here's main. So what does this do? It creates a variable that you ask the user how many number of players they have from 5 to 20. Once it gets that, it's final, right? It doesn't change. You use that to create the arrays. Yeah, so this is where you ask the user. So if they say 5, you put 5 in players. If you want to, just don't even do this part. Well, actually, I've done this already for you, so forget what I just said. Put in 5 every time, maybe, and make it work. The rest of this is just like, if you notice, I give you comments about what part you're supposed to do next in main for these methods down here. And at the end, you uncomment print scores, and it'll print out all the player scores. If you uncomment print statistics, it'll print out all the statistics. Once you've got all this stuff done, I recommend leaving the dummy values in and doing one thing at a time and making sure it works. I think that's it for now. I might make another video, I might not. I'll let you know in the announcements.